What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology retold. That wasn't my saying. That's not what I say. Anyways, in the left-hand corner of the map, it is the greatest Ra player of all time. No, wait, that was Kavoth. This is the other greatest Ra player of all time playing as Ra. His name is Recon. And on the other side, it is Kavoth, and he's playing as his favorite god in the entire universe, Gaia. Do you miss the days when Kavoth would only play Gaia and he would absolutely dominate me every time we played games, and I would get so frustrated because Gaia's a terrible god? Now when he beats me with Gaia, I go, well, that's just about right. Gaia's busted. Crazy. Anyways. These guys just got off playing this game a couple hours ago, and I thought, you know what? This one seems like a fantastic game to watch. So for those of you who have already seen it, here's the other perspective. Smack. We're going to look at it on this side for the most part in this game. Ha! So the map's Oasis. And personally, I do have a lot of trouble against Atlantean with Egyptians. I know that Recon, however, has an incredibly good anti-Atlantean Egyptian. Very, very powerful. Has a lot of great ideas on how to survive all of the shenanigans that come his way. So we'll see how things are going to go. If we check the relics out and see if they're going to be of any importance, Thundercloud Shawl. Over here on this next one, we got Hermes' Winged Sandals. That's always nice. On the bottom side, I got Jade Hair, plus 5% movement speed. On this top side, we do have the Kui Drum. I don't think I've really ever seen anyone grabbing this. Increases damage by 0.25% per 1% of hit points lost. Kavoth thinks that Egyptian is super good versus Atlantean. Yeah, well, don't rub it in, okay? Just because I suck versus Addy. Okay, just because I suck. Okay? No need to rub it in. Alright? We're watching Recon. He's showing me how it's done. No one else wants to show me how it's done. Everyone else loses to Gaia as well with Egyptians, not just me. In fact, I also remember playing a specific Gaia game versus Kavoth. But let's not bring that up. Oh shit, I already did. My bad. So it's not like I complain about my Atlantean versus Egyptian, is what I'm trying to say. I struggle with Egyptian versus Atlantean, and I don't struggle with Atlantean versus Egyptian. Though I might lose some games with Atlantean versus Egyptian, but that's mostly just me screwing up. Anyways, enough about me. More about these guys. Kavoth going through Oceanus here. He does have himself 2 upgrades, kind of avoiding the husbandry upgrade nice and early. I think it is important to grab this tech if you're going to go over to the chickens, because then it just boosts your food income quite a bit and gets those herdables going up. But he might decide to move over onto these gazelle nice and early. Nonetheless, there's that husbandry. So he's going to be going to the chickens or something like that. When people say Egyptian, they only mean Ra. That's true. I do think that Ra is a tier above Set and Isis versus Atlantean. For sure. For sure. More monuments for Recon. And he decides to go through Bast. Now, this is something that I've recently come to the realization of why Bast is so obnoxiously good. And I don't actually know if it is just this or if it's a whole bunch of other things. But I think the reason why Bast is so really, really good, I've been always grabbing these techs, but it's this tech here. An extra 10% on berry bushes and huntables and herdables. By grabbing that tech really quickly, what ends up happening is your food villages become Greek food villages almost. They're 0.1 slower than a Greek villager, and they get the empowerment. Plus, you can do the same thing on your wood, which is then with the axe of wet, which is going to make your wood villages 1%. Is it 1%? I don't even know if it's 1%. It might be even faster than the Greek villages, which is absolutely insane to think about. As the Sphinx getting slowed up over here, charging in to take down the town center. The Oracle getting a couple of bashes off here as Recon's got to get out. But he's getting a couple of barracks up himself, and he is going to be going for somewhat of a classical fight here. Which is always dangerous against Kavoth, because he's very, very good at defending against this kind of shenanigans. But he does decide to go for a 5-second town center. Just to divulge certain private chats that shall never be named. I was talking to a very, very good Atlantean player once upon a time. And they were telling me that they really don't think that Atlantean should go to town center versus Egyptian. Because you can get absolutely run off the map, especially with things like Eclipse to break through this position before you got anything out. So I'm interested to see what Kavoth has got cooking here to try and defend this position, because he might be in for some trouble here in this game. But then again, it might just be because it's Oasis and it's a very, very difficult type of map to put pressure on. But then again, realistically, the best way to sort of play on this to make these sort of defenses work is to put a temple. Well, this is fine, but to put a wall here, and that's going to prevent those units from running through that gap there, such that this gold mine over here is easily grabbed. In fact, right now, Kavoth could do something very sneaky and could stop mining this gold mine, move some villagers over here, over to this gold mine, put a mana down, and kind of be very, very happy delaying his need for extra gold. There's a couple more Mamillos to come in. Heroes to come in. Not heroizing that not heroizing that Caraballister just yet. Instead, actually opting for a hero Terma. This Caraballister does so much damage as the Caladria healing up nicely. A little bit of garrison micro into the mana would be absolutely clutch here from Kavoth. He does have the 5 speed on top of that Gaia Lush. Did he get himself the upgrade? No, they just move at 5 speed. Probably doesn't. Well, he does have the resources for it, but doesn't quite want to spend them just yet. As one Mamilla hero goes down, the rest healing back up, and it looks like Kavoth is more than healed up here. Now, this might sound strange, but hear me out on it. The other very, very peculiar challenge of 2 town center play versus 1 town center play is if you auto queue out villages non-stop, which is what everyone says you should do, your opponent on a 175 population, with your opponent with 175 population is going to have more military than you will be able to have on 190 population. So you have to keep that in the back of your mind when taking fights, because if your opponent, doesn't matter if you've got more economy than them, sure, you're going to be able to rebuild the units, but if you don't at least trade half decently against their army, you're just going to be falling, you're just going to be losing those fights and thus losing the position and potentially also losing a game. And that's what Recon has shown a few times actually throughout the recent Clash of Immortals tournament that he's sort of worked out. Whether he's worked it out intuitively or if he actually thought about it and it's like, you know what? Second gold is so important. Maybe we just mass army here. Now, there will probably be an argument then to say, well, hey, maybe we have to just cut villages or delete villages or heroize our citizens and bring them into fight on that very important fight. And that's going to be more than enough to sort of overpower what's happening there. That could be the idea. But you have to keep in the back of your mind that this sort of a strategy is available. As Recon is now on 2 town centers himself, so he's not actually going for the all-in. He's doing something a little bit different, but he's still a little bit behind on the village account. We take a look. He does not have himself this big upgrade. I'm a little bit surprised, but he does have this one. He does have that add to wet, wet, wet. Getting that one first, only 50 gold, does make sense, and then goes up for the hand axe. The reason why I bring it up is, you know, we still got, well, personally, I still have so much legacy in my brain that I'm just like, these upgrades were basically useless in many different situations on legacy. So we just kind of didn't really care. But in retail, they're just good all the time. You just grab them, no problems. As Kavoth's starting to slowly move out, making more of these economic guilds to expand his defensive position. Also channels to come through as well. What's the normal ratio of Egyptian villages to Atlantean villages? It's supposed to be like 5 villages to 6. I don't know. That's too much math for my brain. There's another mana to come up. Kavoth is getting away with quite a bit here on this hunt. As Recon splits his army up into so many. This is one thing that Recon does. And I don't even know if... I don't know, like, what he's trying to achieve from it. Because I see, like, Kavoth, he just moves his army all in one big blob, right? Mister splits his army up into a bulk of, like, throw an axeman and a bulk of raiding cavalry, for example. He splits it up into the actual primary units. Maybe sometimes he'll split up into 2 groups and go for something. But Recon does this thing where he spreads out on this position like this. So if Kavoth wants to fight, the units are just all ready to get in and actually take a fight. It's actually really interesting. And I think the reason for it is because the attack move sort of function is a bit wonky, to say the very least. It's why something like Sarissa is so obnoxiously good. And then after all of that hard work, he moves his army in and says, okay, time to attack. There is still a big eclipse to come in, but Kavoth has got a very nice defense going. He's up on this side as well. Has that Hero Mamilo just waiting, defending on the gold mine there. So no singular Sphinx going to be able to go over there and deal with that. He could send all the Sphinx over there and make a big amount of damage, but not going to be something we're going to see all too soon here. A Sequit now queued up. And the big question is, what do you do when you hit the heroic age here with Guy? You've already got all of these Mamilo out. Your opponent's got a bunch of Axemen out themselves. You have to feel that it's important to maybe get out some Arcus here, but it looks like Kavoth, he's going for the Hesperid's Tree. One building falls, not the biggest of deals. And he is going for these Gontarias here. Like, I don't mind this. I do think that against a barracks army of spear, axe, slinger, that Mamilo Contarius is an answer to this. Way more than building Arcus. Way more than building Arcus. What's the reason for that? Well, it's just that the Contarias are premium units and the Mamilo are all around premium units as well. Especially with all their upgrades. So they can kind of just beat up this army if you've got an equal population. We're looking at this 205 pop here for Recon. There's a very, very close differential here in terms of military resource value. As Recon tries to commit, tries to move forward, not able to do so. He does get the town center up onto this side. So both players on 3 town centers now. As the obelisk gets broken down. Recon putting up his Migdol stronghold over here. It looks like he's looking for a mythic age for the time being. He does have full population, so it makes sense. But the longer that he's sitting on this full population, the less villages he's going to actually be able to get out. He's only got 4 more than he can build, and then he'll be at 73 or something. Kavoth's at 100 villages here. But look at the difference in terms of military pop. As Eclipse gets dropped down, Kavoth's trying to make the push work. Priests sniping down those Dryads pretty quickly here. The Stivalian Bird could actually take out those Sphinx pretty quickly, but it is looking like Recon's army just that little bit too powerful, and by a little bit too powerful, much more powerful during the eclipse, and Kavoth not able to make anything work moving on here. As now he's going to try and macro back up and down another army. It kind of looks like Recon didn't lose anything there. And he moves into Arcus, Hontarius, Dryad. I think Kavoth's mistake here was just not heroizing his army. Right? Like, he could have heroized his entire army. I think he would have won that fight. I think he won the fight because those Sphinx, with that special attack, doing 15 damage per second over 2.5, basically turns these Sphinx into... how much population would that be? Like, if you consider a Spearman at 2 population, doing 7.2, that's like 4 population in the Sphinx just attacking normally. And then when the special attack comes in, it's even more. Because it's doing 2.5 range. So it's like the Sphinx turns into like a 8, 12 population unit just for that moment. And then the Eclipse makes them continuously do it. But nonetheless, Kavoth still piling in onto this position here. Not quite able to do much as now the Son of Osiris to come through. The army of Recon still managing to hold on for the time being here. It's over onto the top side of the map. 3 siege towers and a dream here for Recon to try and take this one out. Kavoth very quick to act, going to move those citizens in at brisk pace. They are walking very quickly on that lush there. And citizens do take down these siege towers quite quickly, but not quickly enough. Just Recon to push in onto the top side. Beating the Son of Osiris is going to be the hardest thing. Killing that Son of Osiris off is going to be the hardest thing now for Kavoth. He will be able to attempt his own Mythic Age, and a implode onto this army could be what he needs to level the situation here, as the Kontari is coming up to the top side to try and take out this Migdol stronghold. He's dealt with all the siege towers. Catapults coming through here, but getting cleaned up nice and quickly here, as Kavoth's going to be able to clean the Migdol stronghold up. There's a couple of Hierarchus getting converted in to try and snipe down these myth units, but this town center is going to be under siege here. Recon looking like he's in a fantastic position as Kavoth scrambling to the top of the map, has to kill the Migdol to then try and get the settlement back, but there could be a catapult waiting in the wings there, so he probably has to break the wall down as well. As the Son of Osiris is getting sniped down here by the town center. This is a great little trick to take this this bad boy out. If your opponent is ever not controlling that Son of Osiris into the town center, it's always a very good idea, as the hero arc is getting sniped down by slingers. A couple of villagers to come out and try and repair this one back up. But Kavoth loses yet another town center here. As the mummies going to work, the Kontarius now starting to stream in from the top side of the map, but 70 pop to 129 population. The upgrades here not looking the best for Recon at the moment. He's only got heavy... Does he have heavy spearmen? He's only got heavy spearmen, no heavy cavalry, camel riders. But the mummies coming in, that's the scary part. The citizen dives into the watchtower there for the time being. Scarab goes down onto that spot. Sniping down all these camel riders, doing what they can as the implode gets dropped down. Recon attempting to retreat away, but he's not going to be able to. All of these units will get sucked up. And look at that bar dropping as everyone gets sent flying. Son of Osiris. Did he escape? I don't think he did. He's dead, right? Yeah, the Son of Osiris is dead. No Son of Osiris remaining. And Gavoth deals with it. And he's good to go. But Recon's still got himself all the income. He's got 100 villages. He started his trade route with a whole bunch of camels already. He's got everything he needs now to just sit back and defend, getting more migdols up. Oh. Look at this catapult. It's a tree. Throwing a boulder at a tree does some damage. There you go. Gavoth now has himself another cheeky little position here. The Argus to drop down this special ability. Will Recon notice it? He's not. He's just letting it do it. Look at that damage it did. Look at all those units at like half HP now. I think Argus is the most slept on myth unit in the game right now. That pool of acid is so powerful. So obscenely powerful. You have to have the favor to build the dudes, though. And then also get the special attack on the right spot. But anyways, when it goes off, it's going off. Wait, in fact, hang on. Let me... I feel like I need to see this. Wait, I need to see this. Hang on, we'll just do a quick little look-see. It does 50 divine damage. At the end. That's like half of what the exploding fishing ship does. That's kind of a big deal, right? You know your ability is good when it does half of what the Chinese fishing ship does, right? As the palace goes down, villagers retreating back. And Gavoth does make a nice little transition into catapulties here. These champion camel riders getting away with a little bit too much as the slingers coming through. Slinger with the upgrade against for dealing with infantry here. This is a unit that I don't really build all too much. Maybe it's really good versus Atlantean. Maybe this is why I lose all the time. Nonetheless, catapults from Recon to take down the Gavoth Palace here. And all of a sudden, Recon's army having a little bit of pressure, a little bit of difficulty up onto the top side. Gavoth is getting some nice raids in. He's broken down this wall. One little thing for Gavoth to do here would be to walk forward and just make sure that this wall becomes unusable. Build up his own little wall on there, and then he's going to be able to keep using this little space. Obviously, it takes some time to do that, or forethought to do that, but very important. As the infantry here of Gavoth just looking incredibly powerful against this army. Hontarius Catapultis here, breaking through. Huge damage. With the camel riders up to the top side of the map to take down the palace. And what else can Gavoth do to get himself his army out? He's trying to take these fights. He's doing okay. What's the difference in upgrades here? Let's have a look. So both players are roughly the same upgrades, but in that position there, Gavoth does decide the game is done. Those camel riders just not needing to be in the army. He's not able to push. He's not able to get to full population. He's having too much difficulties. But yeah, this game kind of was like Gavoth pushed in onto this army here, and I don't think he had enough heroes. I think that was literally it. I wonder how much... So he took this fight, right? What time was it at? 14 minutes and 26 seconds. 14 minutes and 20 seconds. There's not much resources in the bank here to make heroes, but very shortly afterwards, at 40, at this next stage here, there's a huge amount of resource. I think if Kavoth just waits for the attack, just that little bit longer, and then heroizes everything. Did he have favor then as well? 1430. Yeah, there's favor. That's 30 favor there. Waits, heroizes those 10-ish, 15 units, whatever it is, whatever he can with the favor that's in the bank. I think maybe then he actually does well in that fight. Maybe even wins the fight. At the very least, he would be able to trade nicely there. But nonetheless, well played there by Recon, showing the way as always with this Bast shenanigans. Well played. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider to follow on the Twitch. If on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next game.